The Dolphins are now 2-6 on the season after losing to the Bills. Where does this latest defeat leave Tua Tagovailoa in Miami? So I've got Cannery, Trivial Pursuit, and Target. And we will combine all of these things together, and we will make a farm. Because Tua can go work on a farm, and he'll be more productive than he currently is with the Miami Dolphins. Now, to lead off, the Dolphins are dipping their toe in a pool that is titled irrelevancy. Now, I don't want to say it's bad for the Dolphins, but there's a very fat woman who's warming up her vocal cords right now, if you know what I mean. For all the talk before the season, all the bravado and the showmanship of the Dolphins, and I'm here for all of it as a talk show host, about how good they were going to be, and it's magical, this unstoppable offense. This Dolphin team is on life support. At this point, you don't need me to tell you that. You are what your record says you are, and Miami is 2-6 on the season. P.U., what stinks? They have a better chance at the number one overall pick than making the postseason. Now, what do I mean by that? The Dolphins are currently 12th in the American Football Conference. The top 7 get in, and they would be picking 8th overall. 8th overall in the 2025 NFL Draft. However, they're only a half game away from the worst record in the NFL. The Miami Dolphins are a half game away from the worst record in the NFL. And Tua Tagovailoa, his much ballyhooed return to the Dolphins, and yet they're still headed to the cannery, canned seafood, if you will, here, the new chicken of the sea, a dime a dozen, Miami Dolphins there. There's this, I guess the way I would describe it, there's this ordinariousness of the Dolphins, if that's even a word. They're just very ordinary, right? They're very ordinary. Miami coach Mike McDaniel has gone from boy wonder to the lizard man this season. What has happened? All right, now furthermore, we go to Green Bay. We talked earlier about Jordan Love and many more mistakes this year than last year for the Packers. Packers got... The game was on Big Fox. Wasn't much of a game. During the broadcast, Tom Brady, he must have loved staying over there in Appleton, Wisconsin for a night. Well, Tom Brady was very critical of the Lions safety Brian Branch's ejection from the game. You saw the game, you know what happened. Brian Branch, it was one of those 50-50 calls. He got kicked out. Tom Brady said, quote, "I don't love that call at all," he said. Of course, that likely violated NFL rules. As an owner, you're not allowed to criticize the officials. Media critics have jumped all over that, having a field day. Breaking this down here, did Tom Brady, hero of all Patriot fans and worshipped by many football supporters, did Tom Brady violate the NFL code of conduct by criticizing the officials on Fox? So this comes down to the letter of the law versus the spirit of the law. It's the letter versus spirit test. By the letter of the law, the answer is Y plus E plus S. Yes, yes, yes. That's the answer. By the spirit of the law, it's N plus O, no, no, no. And it's mostly benign. I think we could all agree on that. It's mostly benign. However, these are the bylaws. If someone has an axe to grind, here's the way this comes down. The way I see it, if somebody has an axe to grind with Tom Brady, I'm sure there's plenty of people that do, right? If, for example, you're the Jets or the Dolphins or the Bills, it would be a trivial pursuit to say Tom Brady violated the rules, but you would be successful because, again, Tom Brady, you're not allowed to criticize the officials because he owns a little piece of the Raiders. Just a little small piece of the Raiders, and that's enough for him to make a big deal about it. You can't criticize the officials. Very narrow-minded. All it takes is some narrow-minded owner to make this petty argument, and they would win. They would win. Now, regardless of that, by the letter of the law, Tom Brady is guilty of this Fugazi rules violation. And I, for one, would like to see someone say, "Hey, Tom, you got to pay us some money because you violated the rule." And then, does he quit? Is that the move there? He's not very good at it. I mean, would anybody miss Tom Brady as a broadcaster? He sucks at it. so he could just focus on being an owner. All right, now last thing. We go to the Bayou. That's right. During the Saints' stunning, mind-blowing, they were touchdown favorites on the road, not far away from Tobacco Road. They're in Carolina, and we got a wacky rant. Not a wacky tobacco, but a wacky rant by a former New Orleans star, Michael Thomas. Remember when he was good? He was a wide receiver. He's out of the NFL now. Michael Thomas did not hold back unloading on quarterback Derek Carr, who's now lost to 31 NFL teams, more than anyone in the history of the sport. So in this game, it was early on in the game, the Saints' outstanding wide receiver, Chris Olave, there was a pass that was thrown high and not anywhere near where it needed to be thrown. And on that play, Chris Olave suffered a concussion on a hard hit, attempting to catch the poorly thrown pass by Derek Carr over the middle of the field. It's a dangerous play over the middle of the field. A lot of receivers are not prone to try to even make those plays because you often get hurt because there's a lot of players over the middle of the field that will take your head off. Anyway, Michael Thomas went on social media, and he was unloading. He was airing out some dirty laundry. Of note, as Eddie would say, of note, comments of note, New Orleans, he said, should get rid of Carr, get the F out of here, they should say to Carr. Said he's ass. That was a quote from Michael Thomas. It's a news story, so we're allowed to say that. Also said they fired all them coaches, Michael Thomas said, trying to cover his flaws, meaning Carr, and he's still doing the same S word. Yeah. So how do you grade former NFL receiver Michael Thomas's rant against Saints quarterback Derek Carr? So I read all the different messages on social media. Very entertaining. Very entertaining. It really added to my day. It did. I enjoyed it. I'm not going to lie to you. I enjoyed this. Thought it was fun. I would say he was shopping at Target because he hit the target. He hit the bullseye right there. I give him a B+. I can't give him an A or an A+. Even though this rant was an A+ rant, I can't give him an A+ or an A. I gave him the highest I can give him on my Maller report card is a B+. And the reason I can only give him a B+, disgruntled former employee. Disgruntled former employee. So I can't go more than a B+. I gave him a B+. That's the highest score I can give him. I can't give him an A. Can't give him an A+ because he's a disgruntled former employee. But Carr, Carr is tushy bad. He's tushy bad. He is, right? He's a coach killer. No lies detected on that. No lies detected. And New Orleans is going to miss the playoffs this year. They've lost every game since they started 2-0. They're 2-7 now. And Carr will be gone. He'll be out. And he'll go somewhere else. He's a carpetbagger, and that's what carpetbaggers do. He'll go somewhere else. He's an opportunist. Somebody else will give him a job to start. Some team will say he's a bridge quarterback, and he'll go somewhere else, and he'll suck there and get paid more money, and the same thing will happen. Now, whether Michael Thomas ever plays in the NFL again, that's a different conversation. It doesn't look like he's going to. You got to think someone's going to give him an opportunity, but who? Man. Anyway, Carr did respond. Here's Derek Carr. Did he take the low road or the high road or no road at all? Let's find out.
I have love for Mike.
Oh, really?
When he does that, I don't really care for it, obviously. I've had so many teammates over the years, and he's like the one dude that didn't get along with me, And I don't know what I did to him. I don't know why he feels that way. I'm sorry, for whatever he's dealing with to make him feel like he's got to do that. I don't know, but he's never called me during any of this, my phone number has never changed. I've in fact called him on different occasions, just to try. And sometimes you can try as hard as you want, and it just doesn't work out, and that's okay. So I don't know why he feels any type of way.
Well, I think because he's actually played with you and knows how bad you are. That's my guess. Is that wrong? No? He's not the only teammate that doesn't like Carr. Right? Every year there's a story that's somewhere. But they don't usually put their name on it. I will say that. They don't normally say their name on it. So they rip him, but they do it passive-aggressively where they don't put their name on it. Isn't there a story every year about how do you stop Derek Carr, put pressure on him? He melts. Like every year it's the same story. I know when he played for the Raiders, it was like that every year. It's like, oh, just get pressure on him. He'll melt down. And he does. There you go.